People who say, "Sorry, I missed this."
There's a phrase people use that sounds polite, responsible, and completely reasonable. Sorry, I missed this. It usually arrives after a delay, sometimes short, sometimes long enough to notice. And when it does, it feels like an explanation, like the moment has been accounted for. No drama, no tension, just a calm acknowledgement that something slipped by. Most of the time it works, because missing something sounds accidental, unintentional, almost inevitable. But there's always a pause that follows. Because when someone says, "Sorry, I missed this," you're left wondering what exactly was missed, the message, the timing, or the importance of responding at all. Usually, the phrase shows up after a message sits unanswered. There's no confrontation, no follow-up, just silence. Then, eventually, a reply appears. "Sorry, I missed this." It sounds clean, simple, almost considerate. There's an apology built in. There's a reason implied. And because it sounds harmless, the conversation continues. No questions asked. The moment feels resolved, even though nothing was really explained. And that's why the phrase works so well. The issue isn't saying, "Sorry, I missed this," once. It's when it keeps happening. Messages get overlooked, replies arrive late, moments pass quietly. And every time, the same phrase returns, not to explain what happened, but to reset the conversation. Over time, it stops feeling accidental and starts feeling familiar. Because missing something once is normal. Missing it repeatedly changes the dynamic. The phrase becomes part of the pattern. For the person waiting, the phrase creates uncertainty. There's relief because the silence finally ended, but there's also hesitation. You don't know if following up sooner would have helped, or if it would have changed anything at all, because nothing was said directly. The phrase acknowledges the delay, but it doesn't clarify the reason, and slowly that lack of clarity builds, not into conflict, but into quiet distance.
Most people don't say, "Sorry, I missed this," to be dismissive. They say it because it feels safe. It avoids confrontation, it avoids long explanations, and it avoids talking about priorities. Missing something sounds neutral. It sounds accidental. And because of that, it rarely gets questioned. The phrase allows conversations to move forward without looking backward. Not out of bad intentions, but out of convenience.
At some point, you start recognizing the phrase immediately. You see, "Sorry, I missed this," and already know what comes next. Sometimes you're the one hearing it. You accept it. You move on. Other times, you're the one saying it, not to avoid the conversation, but to simplify it. And that's when it becomes noticeable, because the phrase isn't really about missing anything. It's about timing, attention, and what quietly gets deprioritized. Once you notice that, it's hard not to notice it everywhere. "Sorry, I missed this" isn't a bad phrase. It sounds polite, responsible, easy to forgive. But it's another example of how modern communication avoids clarity. Words that explain the delay without addressing the pattern. And somehow, without discussion, this became completely normal. So maybe the real question isn't what was missed. Maybe the real question is, who approved this?